Dilek, welcome to Tibettv. In today's edition of Introducing Tibet Support Groups, we are introducing the Czech Support Tibet, the association that monitors human rights, cultural and religious freedoms, and the state of environment in Tibet and China. It advocates for the rights of unjustly prosecuted and prisoners of conscience. The Czech Support Tibet also promote Tibetan self-determination through dialogue between the Chinese representatives and Tibetan representatives. Let us discuss in depth about the workings of the association with its co-founder Martin Bursik, who is also a former Deputy Prime Minister of Czech Republic. Welcome to Tibettv, sir.
Thank you very much to all the Tibetans.
So first of all, please tell us about Czech Support Tibet Association and when and how did it come into existence?
Well, I should go back to the year 1988, March 1988, when these are the grassroots of the organization, in fact, and that was my completely illegal visit of Tibet as a climber. By the way, crossed the Nangpala, where many Tibetans were fleeing Tibet and seeking for freedom. And so this is how I personally got in touch with the Tibetans and started to strongly support them. And 1.5 years later, in November 1989, Czechoslovakia was a part of Soviet bloc. We had a communism for 40 years. And suddenly, unexpectedly, Velvet Revolution happened in November, and we became free country. And only a few months after, in February 1990, President Václav Havel, former dissident, he was the first head of state, first president ever, who invited His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the official visit of Prague, which happened in February 1990. I came into politics through Civic Forum, Václav Havel's Civic Forum, and in 2017, as a chairman of a Green Party, I became a vice prime minister and minister for the environment. And supporting Tibet on the parliament government level was a natural reaction to the situation. So my today's wife, an MP, she launched the Tibet support group in the parliament, and both parliament and government adopted the resolution in March 2008 in favor of Tibet, asking to release political prisoners, to stop the violence, to let the journalists and Red Cross workers to enter Tibet. So these were our activities in politics. And then what happened in spring 2014, the official policy of the Czech government sadly changed in favor of China. And we, as a reaction, initiated a statement, a petition, a demonstration in front of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, State Department. 12 organizations participated: Amnesty International, Forum 2000, Václav Havel Library, others and others. And we decided officially launch the NGO called Czechs Support Tibet. And our first action we organized was a public welcome of His Holiness the Dalai Lama at the Castle Square. There were more than 1,000 people, and that was a symbolism to show that though that time government position changed negatively, the people, the citizens of the Czech Republic are supporting Tibetans and His Holiness was touched, and so were we.
So your association carries out lots of activities to create awareness about the Tibetan cause. What are the major activities and how is the response from public?
Yeah, I should say we are political. I mean, when I hear some pro-Tibetan organizations saying that they are non-political, I have a problem to understand that, because the issue of a state being occupied for 60 years by Chinese, it is a political issue, and Tibet needs a support around the world to change this situation and to become free country. So we are very political. Let's say one of the last actions we did is we were initiating and co-organizing the official reception of Prime Minister Sikyong Lobsang Sangai by the mayor of Prague, Mr. Hřib, at the city hall. And I think you might don't know that Sikyong Lobsang Sangay is holding one key, symbolic key of the city of Prague. So the key is in the hands of Tibetans. It's a strong symbolism there. And right now we are lobbying in a Senate, in the upper chamber of the parliament, so that an actual resolution on the situation of Tibet is being adopted, because since 2008, when we were pushing the resolution, none other was adopted by the parliament. So there is a good political atmosphere now in the upper chamber. I believe we manage. We are active on the Day of Tibet, on the 10th of March. We are every year in front of a Chinese embassy, speaking there, organizing it with other organizations. And on the 10th of March, there is a strong tradition that the people, city halls, schools, universities are putting Tibetan flags as a symbol of solidarity. And we have another layer of this. We are taking flags to the highest mountains in the country. So there are many people, and now during a COVID period where people can't gather, they can go to the nature. So we are co-organizing this event so that the people express the solidarity and support of Tibetans of the Day of Tibet. And the last but not least, we just finished a telephone talk with Ted and Samduk Chokyapa. We are working on the book about the friendship and relationship between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Václav Havel, and how deep this relationship was, and how it influenced the acceptance and the position of a Tibetan community in a global diplomacy.
So, as you said that your association's activities are political in nature, so the question is, like any other countries, your government also faces China's pressure when it comes to its decisions or policies in favor of Tibetans and Tibetan movement. So how do you ensure successful implementations of activities and campaigns in such environments, sir?
Yeah, this is a good question. Chinese bullying is everywhere. And I think the best answer to this question was written by a British journalist, Edward Lucas, who wrote the article called The Tibet Test. And the content of the article, which I fully agree and support, is about this. Chinese are bullying the communist regime, whoever wants to meet His Holiness or Sikyong Lobsang Sangay or express support of human rights or political prisoners, they are bullying. And Edward Lucas' position is, and how about if the liberal democratic politicians simply answer, we gonna meet whom we want? And suddenly, the shooting out of the cannons by the Chinese Communist Party will simply be nothing. It will be just, a firework. So this is how we react. We simply don't care. And I give you an example. When I was Minister for the Environment, Vice Prime Minister, I decided to put a Tibetan flag in front of the ministry. That's a strong symbolism. We put a flag there, and the Chinese ambassador was calling for 5 days, one after another. It's their obligation, and we just let it go. And in other cases, in March 2016, Xi Jinping, Chinese president, visited Prague, and we were organizing a peaceful demonstration in favor of human rights in Tibet and Taiwan. And police put a ban on a demonstration. We were not allowed to demonstrate unconstitutionally. They withdraw our constitutional right to gather and to have a freedom of expression and of speech. And we decided to sue Ministry for the Interior and police of the Czech Republic, and we put it to the court in 2016. It's not being decided. So we wondered that there is a pressure of a president of the country who is very connected with the Chinese communist regime, and so we know that they do have the influence. But the best way how to protect this, simply do not care and be principled.
Sir, you have just brought us a brief history of how His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama met late President Václav Havel. So I'm going to ask you a question on this note. So can you tell us about the friendship bond between the people of Czech, including its late President Václav Havel and His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama?
Oh, yes. Well, first, the history of Czechoslovakia and history of Tibet is there are many parallels. We were occupied. You are occupied. We had several exile governments. You had an exile government. We had several students who self-immolated them to raise uh, the people to not to accept a normalization of the of after the occupation. You have these sad cases. In your case, it is much stronger. It is much serious. But we people from Czechoslovakia, now Czech Republic and Slovakia, we do understand your history and where you are, and the friendship of Václav Havel and His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been extraordinary, and it was based on a belief in human rights and belief in democracy. So the friendship was based on values. And Václav Havel, as a dissident who was prisoned, suddenly the communist regime collapsed and he became president. It was a very strong symbolism and also a hope for Tibetans that things can change, and I should add, they will change. So I think this was a basis of a very strong relationship, and this is just what we are now elaborating in a book which will be published in English as well, and it will describe details about how has it happened that it was Václav Havel who invited His Holiness for the official visit.
Sir, as you know that Tibetan movement is based on non-violent movement, so the question is, how important do you think is the role of middle way approach to solve the issue of Tibet and also to sustain the movement if it takes more time?
Well, a non-violent middle way approach, it belongs to a non-violent character of Buddhism. It's natural, and it is a long-term political strategy of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Tibetan government in exile. And I think that this is the reason why the fight of Tibetans for freedom has been so widely accepted by the people in the Western countries and in liberal democracies, that the people appreciate this nonviolent approach. And so to say, in the case of Czechoslovakia, we call our revolution the Velvet Revolution, and it was also a non-violent taking over the power of a communism. So this non-violent approach was in fact proved by what happened in November 1989 in Prague. But to be fair, I am telling this turning 61. I'm 61 years old, and I can also understand the young people and the young Tibetans who and the upcoming generation who, from our point, are let's say more radical and who are, expressing a different attitude, arguing that 60 years of a non-violent policy hasn't brought the freedom. And my feeling is that a Chinese communist regime did not understand the window of opportunity by stepping into dialogue with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and try to find some connections and a solution of Tibetans with Dalai Lama, because I think that with the upcoming generation of Tibetans it will be harder for Chinese to find it. But between, I believe, a Chinese regime will collapse, and so then it will be easier to get freedom of Tibet in the future.
Okay, sir. Before we wrap up, sir, I would like to request you to give us your thoughts on His Holiness the Foreign Dalai Lama's message on love, peace, and compassion. And, sir, how relevant do you think is his message in today's world?
Oh, it's the strongest message in the world, in fact, and it's more and more actual. His Holiness is a symbol of hope for millions of people around the world, and especially in this tough situation of COVID-19 pandemic around the world. it is very strong and it's important to stress the value of compassion and love and kindness. And as an environmentalist, for me, it's also very important. That is, Holiness has been raising the issue of climate responsibility and climate change. I've been following his environmental statements and positions and activities. And let's finish with that. We are working as Czechs Support Tibet together with ICT, International Campaign for Tibet, Richard Gere's organization. We are working on organizing a climate dialogue with experts and NGOs on the situation and on a need to act with respect to climate crisis. We're planning to launch it in spring next year in Dharamsala. Hope the situation will allow us to visit personally Dharamsala and to meet our many friends, Tibetans, who we have in your beautiful location.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure that you must be having a busy schedule, but you took out time for this interview. So I'm deeply indebted to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, and Tashi Delek.
Tashi Delek.